This is Teddy. He's an 8-month-old Pomeranian. He says, I'm cold. Can you please blow dry me? This is an example of well brushed, and this is an example of undercoat that needs to be removed. And Pomeranians have a double coat, and it's really important to make sure that they're brushed out completely, because not only do they have gorgeous coats, but cutting their coats, or if it gets too matted, having to shave them can ruin their coat. And I did post a video about a little dog who had an extreme reaction to shaving. It's not always something that can happen. In her case, was extremely extreme. But anyway, so now that he's all dry, I am line brushing him with a slicker brush. Line brushing is basically you lift the hair and you're getting down to the skin. A lot of people make the mistake of brushing their dog, just like running the brush over the top of their dog, and they're like, yeah, I brush my dog all the time. But what you're doing is, yeah, you're brushing the top part, but you're not removing that undercoat, because you're not getting down to the skin and you're not like effectively brushing your dog. It's crazy to me how much of a difference just a good professional brush out on a dog, like what effect it has on the coat. Like some huskies will come in and like we'll just do a bath and brush, and people will think that we shaved their dog or clipped their dog, just because it makes them look so much sleeker. It really just like thins out their hair and it just gives their coat a nice healthy shine. But brushing your long-coated dog is not an easy thing. It's something that you have to do at least every other day, at the very least, every day if you have time. But getting down to the skin and making sure that it's an effective brush so you're not wasting your time. The slicker brush I'm using is a flexible slicker brush. I really like it because it kind of bends and it really effectively gets that undercoat out. How many times have I said effectively? Be effective, effectively. The tushy gets a lot of little knots, so it's really important to get that part too. This technique is really good for Pomeranians, Huskies, Malamutes, any dog that has like a longer coat. It's also amazing for your doodles, your poodles, your Maltipoos, any animal that is considered shedless. They don't shed the way normal dogs shed, but they still shed, and then you need to remove that coat so that doesn't build up and get matted. And it's really important to if you have a poodle or doodle mix, to make sure that they're brushed out completely before you wash them, because if you wash them, it's going to be really difficult to get that undercoat out. And if it dries and it's already starting to get matted, it's going to dry tighter, and it's going to be really, really hard for you to get the dog to look fluffy again. And that's when you go to the groomer and we shave your dog to the skin. Real groomer talk. Shaving a dog is so much easier than brushing it out. Like I could have this dog washed, shaved, done in like an hour if I wanted to, but I know that it's not the best thing for this dog. And so I'm going to spend the extra time to brush it out completely. And that's another thing when you have a Pomeranian or double coated dog and you get like a little like light cleanup trim, which Teddy ends up getting a little cleanup trim. Every single knot, every single piece of undercoat has to be removed before you start any scissoring. So it just takes a long time. It takes a lot longer than people think. And people are like, oh my gosh, why does it take so long to groom my dog? And we're like, well, there's a lot that goes into it. So here I'm checking with my comb to see if there's any spots that I missed. The comb is also an awesome tool to make sure that you really got down to the skin and you're getting all that undercoat out. And he says, well, that just, I like that, but I would just like to go home. If you have a double coated dog, or if you have a shedless dog, I say that, I kind of rolled my eyes when I said that, but if you have a shedless dog and you don't have a slicker brush and you don't have a comb, buy one right now. It's like literally like $20 for the pair. Like just get one. So I'm back at it again with the slicker brush, and it's very intricate, and he's only 8 months old, and he says, I'm a very good boy. I really I'll kiss you now. Okay, thanks for the kiss. I really like to be brushed, so there's no excuse. It's a nice experience, and I like it when you get my belly because that feels good too. And I'm gonna be so much more comfortable after I get all the undercoat out. Behind the ears is a really, really, really big spot for knotting, and like we call them love knots, and I think I mentioned that before. Brushing and combing behind there at the very least, like that's a very important, because I actually had to spot shave a tiny little mat out of his ear, and there's only so much covering up we can do with his hair. He ended up having a bit of a bald spot, but he says, that's good. Oh yeah. Look at all that hair. That I grew that hair. That came from my body. And oh, you taste good. Oh yeah. Can you pet me, please, instead of brushing me? That'd be great. Teddy totally reminds me of like a brown version of Gidget from Secret Life of Pets, and he's just a little fluff ball. And he's so good. I love Pomeranians' personalities. They always have just, I've never met a Pomeranian that, well, I take that back. There was this, okay, story time. There was this Pomeranian that I was going to groom, and I ended up not grooming it because I went to go check it in, and it was old. It was like 13 years old. And we have this thing where we have to like put our hands on the pet and like feel the pet and meet the pet, like when we meet them or when we check them in. So I go to give them, once over, and the lady goes, he bites, but he doesn't have any teeth. And I was like, oh, okay, and I was a new groomer. So I was like, okay, so no teeth, no pain, no bite, whatever. So anyway, the dog ends up biting me, draws blood with his little gum nubbins. I don't know how it happened, but I could say that is the only Pomeranian that I hold any resentment towards. And even that resentment's not like that crazy, but yeah, dogs with no teeth can still draw blood if they get you in the right spot. I switch a lot between my slicker brush and my comb. Another tool you can use, and which I didn't use, I think mostly because I was too lazy to go walk over to the other station and grab it, is my Undercoat Rake. That one also really helps get the undercoat out without damaging the top coat. I love that his tail is just constantly just wagging. He's super cute. So I'm getting behind his ears again. I move around a lot on my dogs. Like I won't sit there and brush one spot till it's completely like tangle free. Just because like, I don't know, I feel like if I was just like targeting one spot like for a long period of time, it would be be more painful. I don't know if painful is the right word, but I don't want to sit there on one spot. So I go, and that's kind of like why I'm a slower groomer, because I kind of move all over the dog. But then it kind of just makes it so that I feel like I don't miss areas, because I go back here and then I'll go back to this section. I go back to that section. But look at, he says, more, please. Please, more. That feels good. And I'm going to kiss you to tell you that I appreciate you and I'm very cute. I can't really think of anything else to say in my dog voice because I just, that one was tight. And I think that's where I ended up having to shave that out. I don't know if I do it in the video, but I think I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'll save that for later and spot shave it when I am to that point. No, he says, I want to play. Can we play? Oh, is it playtime? Are we done being brushed? He says, I give you a kiss and you just, oh, great, more brushing. I guess that I'll just have to deal with it. More brushing and brushing and brushing. It's my life now. One benefit of consistently brushing your dog is that brushing becomes a good experience. If you're constantly trying to demat your dog or detangle your dog, of course they're not going to like brushing. Brush them before they get to that point. He says, look how handsome and fluffy I am. I'm a very good boy, and I got the best tail wag. Don't you think my wag is just the best? Okay, bye. Remember to hit that subscribe button.